It's the most wonderful time of year, at least in my opinion, NBA playoffs, and we have quite the matchup tonight. Celtics at Bucks in Milwaukee following that 112-90 victory in Game 1 in Milwaukee. Celtics have the chance to take Game 2, go up 2-0 in this series, which is an incredible opportunity. I'm here in the Boston Herald newsroom joined by John Sapochetti. So, Sap, let's just get right down to it. What are the Celtics' chances of taking Game 2?
It's going to be very difficult. Obviously, Milwaukee will play better than they played in Game 1. They'll look more like the team that won 60 games in the regular season, best team in the NBA for the regular season. The Celtics are playing at a very high level right now, the best they've played all year long. They said they could flip the switch. Well, that's what they've done in the postseason. My biggest concern for this game is who's officiating tonight. Tony Brothers is not a real fan of the Boston Celtics, and it's likewise. The Celtics, in his last 9 playoff games that they've played with Tony Brothers as the official are 1-8. The last 13 times Tony Brothers officiated a Celtic game on the road, they're 0-13. So the Celtics are going to have to face the officials and the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm not trying to sound like Tommy Heinsohn.
I know.
And I can't wait to see what his reaction will be at halftime.
That record can't be ignored, obviously, but do we really have to talk about the officials in every NBA postseason?
Sure, the Houston Rockets are, the Golden State Warriors are.
The Rockets, I don't want to get away from the Celtics too much, but the Rockets, Warriors, that game was just brutal.
It was.
To watch them complain at the refs like that. And we've seen some of the chirping on this team too. There are things in the game that you can't control.
That's the NBA, though, right? Yeah, you sound like a coach here.
I know. Well, maybe I should be.
Talking to Pat Summit here.
I was a former coach.
All right,
so
I'm here with Pat Summit from the University of Tennessee. May she rest in peace.
Yes.
Great lady,
great
coach. Absolutely.
Well, we can agree on that. But
we do.
I do want to talk about the physicality of this series because I think Al Horford, Mark Murphy had a great piece in today's Herald about Al Horford overcoming that so-called average Al nickname that he was given to by Lou Merloni and looking, I think, the best he's looked all year in that game. The way that he shut down Giannis, having 3 blocks, 20 points, 11 rebounds. Do you think you could get another performance like that out of him in this series?
Sure. Again, I think they managed his minutes through the season, right? You'd see Al Horford would miss a game or two with a sore knee. I think what they were trying to do was preserve him for these big moments.
Load management.
Load management. That's the term in the NBA, and I get it. The thing with Horford, I always compare him as a poor man's Tim Duncan. And that's a compliment because Tim Duncan to me is one of the 10 greatest players in the history of the sport.
Oh, no, let's not get into your top 20 list again,
no,
okay?
No, let's not do that.
We don't need
no.
a certain NBA players' fans coming after you again.
They all come after me. But I look at Al Horford, and this is a guy who can do everything on the floor, right? It's not just on the defensive end, which he was spectacular the other day in Milwaukee, really containing Giannis, and Aaron Baines also did a nice job. But Kyrie Irving and Al Horford, they play at such a high level in terms of basketball IQ. How many times do we see the pick and pop where Al Horford's alone, 18, 19 feet away, straight on, easy jump shot for him?
Along the lines of that basketball IQ, Gordon Hayward. I mean, the way that he's been driving into the paint and then kicking the ball back out when he doesn't have it, recognizing that right away, and just the vision that he has of the players around him and the players on the perimeter, he's definitely getting hot, finally, at the right moment. What do you think about what he's been contributing?
He's gotten better every month. So obviously he's feeling more comfortable with the gruesome injury from a year and a half ago that we remember in Cleveland on opening night in 2017-18. And the thing with Gordon Hayward, if you're not a fan of the NBA, you just assume that this is a guy who's going to just make open jump shots. He's an athlete. He may be the best athlete on this team. The guy was a highly ranked tennis player when he was in high school. And he drives to the basket. He's so creative, so under control. He's never in a rush, really. And he's setting up a lot of his teammates for open jumpers, whether it be Kyrie, Al Horford.
Kyrie obviously looked incredible, especially with some of those, pull-up mid-range jumpers, which a lot of Celtics fans have hated this season. But when he's hitting them like that, you really can't fault him. It's so smooth. But Giannis is going to come out tonight with a head full of steam. I think everybody has to expect, as well as Middleton and the whole rest of the cast around him. With Aaron Baines potentially being out, what do the Celtics need to do to keep control of this team? Again,
it's their efficiency on the offensive end because Giannis and the Bucks are best when they're able to run. Giannis in transition is scary, right? Because he gets the ball at midcourt, 2 dribbles, and he's at the basket. I mean, he's just an incredible player. If you
His
limit
2 steps are everybody else's 4 steps.
Right.
So what can you do?
his Euro step is,
And sometimes-
Euro, Asia, and Australia
And
all
sometimes
combined.
the refs see his 4 steps as
Well,
his 2 steps.
Yeah, well, most superstars get away with that, right?
No doubt it's going to be a great game. Do you have a points predictor? What do the Celtics have to hit if they're playing defense by way of offense?
Right.
What points do they have to hit to win this one tonight?
They got 112 the other night. Milwaukee only scored 90. That's the lowest offensive output for Milwaukee all season long.
You can't think that's going to happen again
If
tonight.
Milwaukee's going to break 100 tonight, just because
Yeah.
some of these shots are going to fall, I think they're going to get some advantageous calls from the officials, and Giannis is going to be at the line a lot. He did hit 3 3-pointers the other day. If he does that again, that could really open up the offense. The Celtics are going to have to score close to 110 again. I mean, they had 112 in that first game. Again, pace has a lot to do with that.
Right.
And the Celtics do a great job controlling pace. That's another thing that Kyrie Irving does beautifully, which he does pretty much anything you want on a basketball court at a high level. So I would say they're going to have to be right around what they scored the other day, maybe a little less, because Milwaukee's going to break 90 tonight. I would be shocked if they
Right.
don't.
Well, we will see. Tonight's game is at 8 p.m. on TNT. But for all Celtics content, you can follow us here at the Boston Herald. Thanks, Sap.
Anytime.